You good?
Yes.
All right. I'll start by reading a letter that I wrote for you.
Okay.
And then we'll jump into some questions, if that's okay.
Okay.
Ma, thank you for being one of the strongest women that I know. While my childhood was challenging, I genuinely believe that you tried your best when you were mentally and physically in a place to do so. The hardships of my dad being in prison for 15 years and you struggling with a drug addiction played a significant toll on my life, both personally as well as professionally. Your life was challenging. You lost a brother due to suicide at an early age. You lost another sister due to cancer. You faced verbal and physical abuse from my father. You battled drug addictions. You raised 3 kids by yourself in poverty, and you faced many more life hardships.
Yes.
I was I was embarrassed by my story growing up poor and at times feeling broken. However, as an adult, I realized that these adversities made me into the man that I am today. These traumatic situations helped shape me into a leader, a strong, stable, and reliable father, and a husband, and a man who lives in his truth and truly cares for others. Sometimes we may bump heads regarding my thought process and being overly direct, but I pray that you know I genuinely love and will always love and support you through this life. I will never allow you to fail if I can control it. I will never allow you to be broken or a broken woman ever again in your life. Many people have let you down in this life, and I pray that you always know that I will not be added to that list with another name. Thank you for persevering, trying every time I asked you to, and for you giving me time today. I love you.
Thank you. Love you too.
So, what was your life like before having kids, and what were your dreams and goals?
Growing up, my mother had 8 children. I had 5 older sisters. I grew up between an older brother and a younger brother. My life dreams was to be a nurse as well, but that never happened. Life was good. I had my father. That was a good thing. When he moved us to Wisconsin, things even turned better. I did have a lot of trouble sometime with my brothers, fighting them, things like that. My sisters were a little older, really had no time for me. So that's when I, spent a lot of time with my brothers. Outside of that, I feel I almost had everything.
So tell me more. What do you remember most about your childhood, and do you think those experiences shaped your decisions later in life?
No, I don't think it had anything to do with later in life. Coming up, I just thought it was fun and games. We didn't do very much. My parents didn't drive at that time. We had no car, but we had food on the table and clothes. But then again, with 8 children, I guess it wasn't very much expected. We had rough times. We didn't have a car. We walked. School was great. It was just 18 and after when things started falling apart.
So I guess really stepping into, 18 and onward, can you just share what you feel like led you down a path of addiction and what kept you in that struggle for as long as it did?
What started me or that led me into it, it was given to me by someone who I thought I was in love with.
What was given to you?
Drugs. Marijuana was always a thing, but then there came other drugs. There were other drugs that came because they were given. And then being 18, I felt rebelled against what my mother said and wanted to find out things on my own. So I took a different route. That led me into drugs, led me not a whole lot of trouble, but just the drugs. The drugs, the drugs, the drugs. It started off with marijuana. Am I allowed to say?
Yeah, say it all.
Then, as much as it hurt, we started off. We did. First, we tooted a little bit. We tooted a little bit of cocaine. Then we started freebasing.
Which is crack.
No. Cocaine, you cook it up with ether.
Mm.
We started on that. The person that I indulged with a whole lot went off, and then I felt a lot alone. I mean, at that time, I'm hooked. Although I never did admit it, but I knew something wasn't right.
You became addicted.
I came addicted. And with that addiction, I also thought that, for some reason, I had it in my mind. I started myself, that I could stop myself. That wasn't so.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't so. But for a long time, then I did have the willpower to stop myself. What made me think about that is because I also had a conscience. I had a conscience, and I thought a lot about, what would your mother say? What would your mother think? But then again, the drug got better. Forget about what my mother said, I was off. Finally, after so long, seeing myself going down, I started thinking about some of the things that what my mother would say or what she had said. So I tried to clean myself up, but I couldn't do it by myself. I just could not do it by myself. But I didn't want help. I kept saying, you can do this. I did it to a certain point. Then something else would happen. I would say something else would happen. Like I say, first of all, I lost my brother. I was 19. Got over that. Things started going good again. Had a decent job. Then I don't know what happened. Messed around and started again. Like I said, I always knew it just wasn't bad. For instance, it's always bad, but it wasn't as bad as, for instance, when I see crackheads, things like that, at least I thought it wasn't. After the freebasing, then when Dick Gregory came in and cleaned up the labs and everything, then we started on the crack. I did a lot. I thought that like I said, I didn't think I was hooked because I still went to work. I still went to work every morning. I went to work. I did everything, and I tried to keep it on the DL. But people know. I tried to, and not thinking of you guys, my children. I thought as long as I provided a home for you all, I was off. Then when I come back, there was nobody said anything, nobody chastised me, nobody did anything. So I just went on.
But like, what did you think was like happening with us? And like, where were you? Like, were you
I
just?
didn't think what was happening to you all. As I said, I felt that I had a home for you all. You were in good hands. What made me think of whatever, I think it was drugs. It was the drugs. A
So
lot of times I took you over to my parents' house. I took you to my older sister's house. Then I was off. Didn't care, didn't think at all.
So what were you? Were you just like bouncing from like crack house to crack house? Like,
No,
what did it?
no, never at a crack house like that. I had one person who I thought was a friend. At the time, we were indulging together. I had the money, I send them. I went to get nothing, I did nothing. Or either I had them bring it to me. I did none of that. I had it like that. At least I thought I did. So I was at a person's house, never around a whole lot of people, because I felt at that time, indulging in drugs like I was, the more people, the more you have to share. And I didn't want to share. Then after that, I was still in a lot of denial. I mean, you could see you spraying us the nose on my face. You know there's something wrong was going on, but I try to fool myself. After around when I lost, let's go back. After I lost my brother, and like I said, I started doing good again. Work. I would get good jobs. Save a little money. Then I started messing around again. And then I would just either quit the job, won't get fired from a job, because I would still go high
At work.
at work. But I always had those jobs, sitting down behind the desk, or something like that, that I really didn't have to do any hard labor or anything like that. Even though at times, there were times that I would sit up there and I would be dead asleep at work. Because I indulged all night. And then I'll get off, pay day rolled around. I paid my bills. But that extra dime, guess where I went?
To get high.
You know what? Me and a girlfriend. Never no guys. She had children. But I would wait till the wee hours and roam the street, and go to the house. Because the dope man was open 24/7. I don't care what you wanted, you can go get it anytime. So I'll go there and send her. And sure enough, she wanted to get high. So she would go. Leave me there, and stuff. I could do what I wanted to. But at that time, I wasn't thinking about doing nothing but them drugs. After I found myself falling off bad, still in denial, I would start working again and try to throw people off so they wouldn't, know what was going on. But they knew something was going on. My older sister, I used to throw you all over there on her, and I'll leave, and I'll be gone till 3 days at a time. Then before I go back to pick you guys up, I would think of a good lie that I thought I had to tell her. I run in there and I'll start to telling her. And all she would say is, just take the kids and go home. Never said anything bad. Never listened to anything I had to say. She knew I was lying. But I didn't know it. I didn't know she knew. Not then. But she did. Then, after that, my sister moved to out of state. It was still me and you all. Of course, I always had my kids, and I had my mom and my dad. I would stop again, but I never really stopped. You know, I would still sneak, or at least I thought I was sneaking. And then I would quit going to the friend's house. I brought it to my own house. I would stay locked up in the bedroom.
Or the bathroom.
Or the bathroom. And when you guys come to the door, I just say, get away from that door. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And things like that. You all never seen me, but I'm sure you had a nose and you knew, you're not dumb. But at that time, I'm sorry, but I didn't care. I liked the drugs better.
Mm-hmm.
Then I lost my sister. I remember. The day my sister passed, I was at a friend's house then, that morning, getting high. Called in work sick. I never be sick. Getting high. At that time, I had 2 jobs. The first job I missed. The second job, time for me to go there at 7 o'clock. This girl kept telling me, you have to go to work. And I'm like, I'm going. Something just wasn't right. I'm going. I didn't go. 3 o'clock in the morning, I go home. I go home and I have my baby girl there waiting on me with tears in her eyes, telling me my sister passed.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, I hear what she's saying, but I'm like, I'm not ready to accept this either. I go and I get more money to get ready to go back out to the dope man. So at this time, she wants to go with me. I take her.
I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember her begging you to not go.
She went with me. She sat in the car while I did this time go in. I went into the girl's house and the girl went across the hall wherever she had to go. But anyway, I had her sitting out in the car. I came back home. I come back home. I run to the bathroom. By this time I finish, my little thing out, something like that, come back out. She right there laying by my bed. She right there waiting on me. She held nothing against me. She didn't ask me no questions. She just laid there watching me. At this time now, I have no more money for the night. Can't get to the bank. So at this time, the high is wearing off. And everything is starting to come to me. And I'm not feeling good at all. I got to go find out how my nephew is, you know, where my sister, you know, everything. She give me her car that she had brought for me. Take this and go now. I left for just me. Hit the highway. Hit the highway. I'm going to see my sister. My nephew. After that's all over, so that's another thing come back, and that triggers me really bad again. At this time, I feel like I lost my sister, my best friend. You know, I didn't want to die, but I didn't care about nothing, not even you all.
Did you ever think that why didn't you think that you weren't gonna OD?
I guess maybe because I didn't think I was doing that much at that time. That's what I thought. I didn't think it was that much. Oh, but it was a lot. You know, now that I realize and everything, you know, I didn't think it was that much. I guess I didn't see myself off as like going into jail at first or anything like that. Yeah, no, so I didn't think it was that bad. And then, like I said again, I was in denial.
What did you think was going to happen? Like we had nothing. We had, sure, an apartment, but like there was no food in there. There was no stability. We were lying. Like we had to lie to family and friends, and we were scared to go into foster care. Like,
see, and this is the thing too. I did not want y'all, but I was still liking them drugs, so to where, you know, like I said too, they're at home, you know, stuff. I didn't think about it. So I don't know what to tell you, you know, and so what you're looking for, I don't know. I just didn't think about it, and I thought that I provided that. Or better yet, you over grandma's, you're in good hands. You over on Cookies, you're in good hands. You were at Ronnie's, you were in good care. I didn't care. I just didn't care. You know, and then being in denial and everything.
so what do you feel like was your lowest moment?
The lowest moment, I did something real petty, crazy, stupid that almost cost me everything. And you saved me. After that, but before that, let me take you back to this here. I remember also, I tried to stop another time before too. As I said, I have a sister that thought we gave a party together. I did good up until the day of the party. Everybody showed up for the party but me. Guess where I was? I was getting high. Never even cared, you know, or anything like that until after everybody told me how you was running around worried, all that kind of stuff. And then I started thinking, that's what, don't get me wrong, last thing I wanted to do was hurt you. Being my only boy and all that kind of stuff, I just didn't want you, at least I didn't think I was hurting you. But when I heard all that, I knew I did hurt you. I knew I hurt you and I couldn't face you. But I was so hooked in to where I just couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. I couldn't share it with nobody to tell them outside of that one person I was getting high with. You know, like I said, it wasn't a whole lot of people. A whole lot of people don't know about it. Now, there was a time in my life when I first started, there was a few others, you know. But outside of that, no one knew about it but me and one other person. So I guess that's another thing that I guess I didn't care either. Nobody really knew. You know, they could assume. but nobody knew nothing.
But I think you think that. I think you made the assumption that nobody knew. Like we definitely knew. They sat me down when I was 12, my sisters, and told me that you were on drugs, and I was mad at them. I was livid. I was just like, no, she's not. Like maybe she smokes a little weed, and how at 12 I was even under the impression of like, oh, it's only weed. And like when they broke it down and started putting all the pieces of the puzzle together, I was
Oh, I
like, wait,
was.
like, yeah, and I saw a crack pipe. I mean, in your windowsill, in the ashtray. I can. It was a brown ashtray. I remember seeing the crack pipe,
No plastic ashtray.
and at that point, I just was like, this is our reality. Like we are kids of a woman that's addicted to crack, and like what? How is this possible? Like how are we going to make it? So we knew. I mean, my assumption is that the family knew as well. If we're kids and we understand it, I'm assuming that they have to know as well. So like we're, I guess for you is like what? At time when I still go back to like, even when they being my sisters were getting ready to go to school, like in all of those things, and it was like just me in this apartment, because you were gone, like you were legitimately gone. Like there are time periods where,
To the crack house.
yeah, like, so when they were gone and it was just me in the apartment, were you just like, he has it under control, or like, what was your thought process?
Well, at that time, you spent a lot of time, with your friends and things like that and everything. So I just didn't think. Does that make sense? I just didn't think about what you thought or anything like that. At that time, I just thought I got this money, I'm finna go. I'm finna. That's all I thought about.
Yeah.
I even quit smoking weed and stuff because I liked that better.
Crack.
Yep, sure did.
So then like I go on to school and like what you moved to India or stay in Indiana at that point. You were going back to your,
I'm gonna tell you why. My sister, my older sister living now, took me back in 2012 to Indiana with her to try to help me clean myself up.
did she say that to you? Or y'all didn't have to talk about it?
We didn't have to.
So you moved back specifically of trying to get clean.
Trying to get clean.
Uh-huh.
I stayed with them and I had a good job and I did for a long time until I went back to Milwaukee again. When I go back to Milwaukee, I don't know, you would think after a year or two being there and everything to where, but I ran right back to that girlfriend I thought was a girlfriend house again so we can get high and stuff started. It's like I didn't, I didn't.
You started
all over again. All over again. Then after that, I lost my mother. And when I lost my mother, I started heavily again. And I think it's to make me not have to look at that, and try to help me to forgive, but it was only for that moment while I was indulging. After an hour after I stopped, everything come right back again. I still got the same problems. Everything. At that time, I was in Indiana and I was working and everything, trying to get myself clean. And I was sending money to you because you were still in school, a little bit of money, what little bit I could. I was trying to pay a little bit to rent, a room, just a little bit of, something. I couldn't pay no real rent. At that time, I didn't have a habit there because I knew nobody to get nothing from or anything like that. Then again, I was at my sister's house. I couldn't indulge like that, And then I did, at that time, want to get clean, too. But then again, every time if someone told me that I needed help, I would be in denial, and I'm like, no, I don't. I can stop myself.
But what made you feel like you could stop yourself when it's been decades and you couldn't, and you felt like, I mean, we were in bad situations. We were not safe. We weren't protected. We
See,
were.
this is what you don't know about drugs. Bad situation or not, you don't care.
So you just feel like the drugs just literally took over.
Took over. Till finally one day I seriously started listening. I mean, this was before my mother passed and everything. I was like, well, what would your mother, you know? Then I knew I had failed Jew and everything to where I just wanted to just try to stop for real stop. You know, because although I had told you I had stopped, you know, I was still sneaking and doing my thing, you know, and stuff, so I wanted to quit. After that,
Your
I
lowest
came
moment.
back to Milwaukee. That's when my mother died. Then I stayed there for a long while. At that time, the drugs were sold to me to where my father was an older man. He had me at 40, so he was a lot older and everything like that. I couldn't even clean myself up to take care of him after my mother passed. My sister had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would get mad at them for things that happened when I didn't want to have that responsibility. Which at that time, again, the drug was better. So, you know, it's like, okay, I'm gonna let her do this, I'm gonna let them do that. Then I just got tired. One day I just got tired. You know, and I'm like, see myself falling out. I mean, like, whoa, my clothes I could wrap around me twice.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. You know, I could see myself deteriorating right in front of my own eyes. That's what I didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, because I always had, I thought I had the looks and, you know, the body and stuff like that. But when you're on them drugs,
Mm-hmm.
and a man looking at all that and everything, then them drugs took over and I didn't care about that no more either. I didn't care about none of that either. Then I don't know what, just one day I just thought, you know what? I'm done. But it did take a couple of things first. It took me, I did a very stupid thing. I did a very stupid thing that almost cost me. It cost a lot, but it could have been a whole lot worse. I could have been, like you said, dead or in jail. That never happened. Never OD'd. I guess I just thought I couldn't OD off crack. I did have an option. That's another thing that started us as well too. At the age of 17, me and a few friends, we all worked at the VA hospital there in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I had one friend. She worked in the lab, so she would steal all these pills, but pills never did. I never did like them. I never did like them at all. So that was a turnoff to me. But we used to work there, and then after that,
But go back to the situation that happened, your lowest moment, and how you
my
got there.
lowest moment, I had lots of smaller lowest, but 20, no, this is the lowest of low. In about early 2015, I did working, living in Indiana. I did one of the stupidest things, not thinking, you know, at this time, still indulging a lot in things like that. That cost me a job. It cost me my job. It didn't send me to jail, but it almost did. It almost did. The thing about it is that I try to keep it all to myself. I try to keep it all to myself, knowing I had not a penny to pay for anything. And it was driving me crazy. It was driving me crazy. It was eating me up. But I didn't want to tell nobody. Now at this time, because I had did something so stupid, oh, I'm clean. I'm clean, but I got this big problem. I got this big problem to where I didn't want to tell anybody or anything like that until you found out. You found out something, so then I had to come clean. I had to come clean to tell you at the time what was going on. But that happened and that happened. I wasn't even on the drugs then. I mean, I was, but it wasn't like that. You know, like I had been. But that's, at that point when that happened, that's what woke me up, and I said then no more.
And this is when you stole
Yes.
and you got caught and they took you to jail?
No, they did not take me to
didn't.
jail. I went into the back room of the job because the product that I had, it was still there.
But they pressed charges.
No, I lost my job. And I guess that was enough for them, you know, and it was first time offense and all that kind of stuff. So, lost the job and that was it. Told me never come back in that store again and all that kind of stuff. I was good for that because I had escaped. I had escaped, at least I thought I did. Until I went to apply for an apartment. When I went to apply for an apartment, it came up.
On your record.
So although I did not go to jail, the police record, I guess they did whatever. No one, the store didn't press charges. So I don't understand how they do that exactly. But anyway, I know it got that I did it. It showed up on my record because it was a felony charge. Theft is a felony. Theft is a felony, and it wasn't as if I went into the store and stole, boosted, shot with it. It wasn't that. I saw a bag on the counter. I took it and looked in it, saw what it was. I put it down up under the cash register until break. Break time came, I picked the bag up and I went to take it off to the car. And all this time, security was watching me all the time. But I didn't know it. When I stepped foot out the door, the alarm went off. Here comes security. So anyway, well, that was that. But like I said, too, they didn't press charges, so I didn't catch a case to go to jail. But again, like I said, I lost that job. And then after that, oh my gosh, they charged me with a felony. It was on my record. And until it got expunged, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. Oh, I was just sick. But I had did it to myself. Then at that point, I thought, okay, you getting too old for this shit. Time to, you know, because like I said, I got out of it, so I promised myself at that time first I turned to the Lord. I said, Lord, please get me out of this. If you get me out of this, and he did. So it's true, the Lord does answer prayers. You can't quit unless you want to. I don't care what nobody say, what nobody do, unless you want to quit. It ain't gonna happen. That along with prayer. I prayed for him to take that taste out of my mouth.
The drugs.
And he did.
It was after that. So you're saying you've been off of crack since that?
I'll say about 20.
20 when?
No, you say 15. That's the real time. I think I have tried it maybe once or twice after that, but then, like I said, when I turned like 6, I'm like, okay, it's time to get this up. You know, it got, well, I don't know how some people think, but I thought, you know, it's time to get us up now. And then, like I said, after that, I mean, that scared me so to where I said, if you get me out of this here, I will not go back. You know, then having you all, things like that. You anyway, and Kia, you know, a lot. Then the grandbabies came. Then that really, really made me then say, okay, I'm done. When I saw Carter's little face, I was just done. For real, I was done. Then I just decided, okay. You guys had kept on trying to get me here, and I kept saying, okay, I'm coming, but at that time I was still on the drugs. I kept telling y'all I was coming, I wasn't coming. I wasn't trying to come.
Yeah, we knew.
I wasn't trying to come. You know, I was having fun. But after I caught that case, nobody had to tell me then. I was ready then, you know. Then, like I said, I thought I was older and I had grandkids and I didn't want them to have to go through the same thing. You know, like I said, I didn't think my kids knew, but my kids knew.
Sorry, go through the same thing that we went through.
I would not take them through that. I would not take them again through that, you know, and stuff. I said the thing about it and stuff, I said, but I didn't want them to know, you know, and things like that. I said, you know, I wanted to be the one to tell them when the time came. You know, like you, I never did want to tell you nothing. I wanted you to come to me and ask me. You never did. Kia never did. And I knew she knew. Kia and a Kinky knew everything. Kinky just turned away, but Kia was there by my side. True ride or die.
Yeah, and I
True ride or die.
don't think it's a turn away. I think it's we each handle trauma tremendously differently. I think Kia is going to double down and lock in to whatever the mission is to be there, and Kinky was in a state where she was getting rocked as the oldest and needing to really like uproot her life. She had opportunities when it came to college that I personally believe that she passed up on some of those opportunities because of me, and she knew that I was going to be alone. So I think she made decisions to be a little bit closer to home. So I don't think it's a situation where I wouldn't look at it as a situation where she didn't have your back. I think that she was in a situation where she had to have my back the most during that season, because again, I was alone in that apartment, and it was only God, by the grace of God, that I was mature and made responsible decisions, because that could have went tremendously south. It could have went, I could be on drugs. I could be, you know, a rebel and deciding to make these choices of being a bad person. However, I decided to, I think, live in those moments in our truth of like, this is an awful life. We were living in a really, really hard, challenging time period of our lives, and our backs were against the wall. And that's why we are as close as what we are now, me and my siblings, because we had nothing to, we only had each other during those moments and during those instances growing up. So that's the silver lining for me. But I think that it also has created instances where there are so many things that are non-negotiables for me to this day, right? Like drugs being one of them for me. You know, like how I'm raising my kids, how I'm responding, how I'm showing up around the family, around Carter and Kennedy, around my kids, what I allow to be around my kids as well. And again, I think that bumps into the topic of like, yeah, we can bump heads sometimes revolving around that, but that's because I know what it was like to be on the opposite side of a parent who was addicted to drugs and a parent that was also in prison. And I know that like, I don't ever want my kids or my sister's kids to experience a fraction of what we had to deal with. So Yeah, I think that's pretty much, it for me. But for you, like, where are you at currently in life? Are you sober entirely off of crack? Like, where are you,
Crack,
honestly?
yes. Totally. Out of sight, out of mind. I think the Lord did remove the taste out of my mouth. That's what helped me to where I don't even bother, knowing things like that anymore. Don't think about it, none of that. But at that time, I just didn't care. I'm sorry it took over me the way it did, but I didn't think about y'all.
Hmm.
I didn't think about y'all. I knew I had kids, but the crack had me. I did not care, did not think. What about this? What about that? They at home or they're in good hands.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, and we
I'm
weren't. I mean,
sorry.
if I'm being honest with you, and you don't owe
I see
me.
that now,
Yeah.
but then again, like I said, some else was over me to where I didn't look at it like that.
Yeah, it was an addiction, and I think, for me, I think I understand it now. Do I wish that we were in that situation? Like, no, I don't wish that on anybody. It was the hardest thing that I've ever had to navigate in my entire life, and it was stressful, it was embarrassing. I lied a lot growing up as a kid because I was embarrassed for you. I was embarrassed for us, and it's just now where I'm able to like fully live in my truth of look, like we've overcome that. Like it's all good. And I think for me is like I hope that you don't feel like you owe me an apology or owe me anything specifically. The only thing that I want for you from now until the rest of your days, however much time you have here on earth, is like I hope that you do not touch crack again. I pray that you don't do hard drugs again. I pray
Look,
that
let me tell
you.
you something. What I've been through, I do not want to see that again. Got away, stay away.
Yeah.
I will stay away. Probably, I got too much to lose now.
Yeah,
I have too much to lose now.
I pray that that
You
is.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I hear you, Ma. I do, and I believe you. I want to
I mean,
believe you.
successful children. What else could I ask for? That's
Yeah.
all I thought when I moved y'all out there. I wanted y'all to be different, had it better than what I had. Because, see, I had to share mine with my half siblings. So then my mother had 8. It wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. But where I
But I
was,
had my dad, and I was good for that.
yeah. So that was my point. It's like it's not.
I
We
was great with that.
we didn't have it better, right? Like that's not the
Exactly.
situation that we are in. We had it worse, in my humble opinion, because it was no parents
I
around at
always had
all.
2 parents. I've always had 2 parents. I was daddy's girl.
Yeah. And that's a blessing, right? I think that's a gift that you
Oh
were
my
able to
goodness,
to
this is
have.
what I can't understand when I don't see a little girl that's not, so I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
but
it's
one
beautiful.
second, Ma. Let me finish this thought. I think, again, like for us, there are silver linings in how we were raised and the situations that we were able to go through. And, where I'm going with it is like, you don't owe me anything. You don't owe me any apologies. What I want and at times demand is like the best version of you to bring into my household, my family, what I'm trying to grow and develop for myself. And also, I think what Kia is also trying to grow and develop for her household as well. I can't speak for Kia, but I believe that we are aligned in how we see our families and like the future state of what we want our families to be. We have big goals and we want and we expect the best for these kids, and we're going to provide and give them everything and some. So my prayer and hope is that you stay off of crack and you stay off of these drugs, in that you continue to just work on self-improvement every single day. Because I think, as a man that's 36 years old, that's really the only thing that I ask of you. I don't need anything from you financially. I don't need anything from you like socially, physically, like like I have all of that stuff figured out. And it's because of all of the hardships that I had to persevere through, to where like I'm really good with my back against the wall. I can solve anything. I've gotten you out of situations. I've gotten a lot of
Oh
people out of
yeah.
situations. So that's a gift. But what I do want is like for you to just continue to make strides every single day and know that like we love you and we support you. We just want the best for you. I appreciate your time today, and I appreciate you really just being honest about your story and where you're at. I pray that it's helpful for some people to clear the air about their journey, and also maybe to see a little of, you know, me and my sisters and your journey, and see that like you can overcome at the end of the day.
Well, with that being said, don't get it wrong. Like I said, I couldn't break that habit. I was gone. To where I thought I could start myself, I couldn't. So anybody out there that got an addiction like that, let me tell you, you do need help. It may not be put away in a rehab facility or anything like that, but you got to talk to someone. I talked to a doctor for a year. I saw a shrink for a year, and he put me on a pill. That helped as well. I mean, I was nasty. Real ornery. Didn't care. The drugs, I cared about the drugs. But again, what I have to say for anybody that's out there like that, you cannot do it alone. Get help. Talk to somebody.
Anything else that you want to say or share?
I think that's it.
Okay.
I think that's it. But again, like I said to you, you'll never have to worry about me with that again. That's done. That is done.
I believe you. Ma, I appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for just being honest and truthful about the journey. I mean, I'm a lot of this stuff we knew, and you know, I've been aware of.
And then again, there's still a whole lot more if you feel you need to talk about it. We can do this. Now's the time.
Yeah, no, I understand. Well, I appreciate it, Ma. I love you, and you know, I want the best for you. And obviously, if you need anything, I'll be here to support you.
I love you too, son. Thank you.
Okay.